I've been telling people for years, don't record with camcorders onto tape. I don't care what format it is. We have much better technologies. Camcorders had their shot in the 80s and 90s. They're gone. Don't record anything you ever want to play back onto videotape, and yet people still do it. And now I have someone's wedding that was just shot a few weeks ago on VHS, and they can't play it because the camera malfunctioned. So we're going to try to get a recovery from this tape, and I'll show you the procedure, how much work's required, and the equipment needed to do it. I was shipped a couple tapes in to try to recover. This was recorded only a few weeks ago. This is a viewer that sent this in, and I know I've preached this many times before. Nobody in 2025 should be recording anything on VHS or any type of videotape. Anything that you ever want to play back, I would say never record it on tape. These old machines are just too old, and there's just too many things that can go wrong. And to record something that's once only, like a wedding, is just asking for trouble and disappointment. So this is the machine I was playing around with the other day. So I verify that everything is in good condition on here, and everything's playing as normal, which it is, as you can see. And we're going to play the tape, or try to play the tape that was sent in. Just going to kill the sound on here. I won't be showing you the picture much on this because it is somebody's wedding, and we're going to try and do a recovery on this. Now apparently this tape was already sent to another shop, and they were unable to recover anything. So I'm going to load this tape now, and we'll see whether I can get this tape to play on this machine. That right now the alignment on this machine is perfect. Let's take an initial evaluation. This is what we're working with. It's pretty bad, as you can see. This is why I say do not use tape. I don't care if you want the nostalgic look or not. This is what happens when you use tape and things go sideways and equipment does not work. As someone who did weddings for over 20 years, I would always carry 2 cameras I was using and a spare with me, and I tested everything thoroughly before anything got going, because the last thing you want to have happen is something to go wrong with the camera, and then you end up with nothing. Thought it looked a little dark there. That would have been my the cable. Okay, so I'm going to start messing with the guides here and see whether I can get anything to play back any better than this. Hopefully we'll be able to get a good recovery out of this. Now I can put the scope on here, and I probably will if I can get it close. But we're going to just start by adjusting guides and see whether I can get the picture any better than it was. I'm now looking at just a solid blue screen, so I've lost everything now. Now I'm using a JVC player here just because that was what I was horsing around with there the other day. But this player here is giving me some issues. It's going to have a fault. You'll see. It's going to go into rewind by itself, and I can't stop it. So this machine's got some other issues, plus the fact that it's not reading the control track properly, so it's muting the picture. So I'm going to play around with this one for a bit, but ultimately I'm going to go and get my Sony, and my good Sony at that, and we'll get something playing back a little bit better. I did get this one relatively close, but the fact that the picture kept going blue on me just meant I couldn't use it. It was muting for no reason. Now, there's no guarantee that any of these tapes can be recovered. It all depends on how far the camera was out of alignment. Were there parts missing off the camera? Was a guide missing? These are things that you don't know. You start with garbage and you try to somehow get it to play. Here's where the machine decided to have a mind of its own and only rewind, and I couldn't even stop it. See what I mean? Maybe a mode switch problem. The machine just started to go into rewind by itself. Well, that's weird. This machine has decided it's got a mind of its own, and it just wants to do things on its own. So I guess that means there'll be repair video coming up for this one sometime soon. I may end up getting a different machine if this machine's got a fault. This machine decides it wants to go into rewind, and yet there's no reason for that. I'm blocking light to the end sensor in case that's what's causing it, but it's not. I may have to try a different machine. This one doesn't want to play at all. Houston, we have a problem. This machine is going into rewind. I stop it and it goes into rewind. This machine's got a mind of its own. It might even be the rewind tactile switch has got a short, because I think the problem started when I went to initially rewind. It's still going into rewind. Somehow it's looking for index 9. Why is it looking for index 9? There, you see? I fixed it. I'm going to try to tweak this some more and see if I can get this machine to play back. And play back acceptable. At this point, it's not. I'll show you the tape in a bit. I'll show you some shots from the tape in a bit here. But I'm just trying to get it to be stable. I never will get it stable. And I'll let you in a little secret. The sync, the vertical blanking is it's not there. Like, there is no vertical blanking. It's not got recorded due to that mechanical problem. So we have to take a little more drastic measures to try to get something off this tape. Now, this is quite time consuming and tedious, and you got to monitor the entire tape, because if it's shifted, good chance that the tracking will shift or the alignment will shift throughout the tape every time the tape is started and stopped. Just like the moldy tape problem, this is one of the reasons that tape recovery is so costly compared to, say, just digitizing, because there's a lot of labor involved in getting it to play. I'll show you where I am at this point. It's much better than it was. Still not perfect, but I'm getting there. So as you can see, it's a little better than it was, but it's still not usable. We're getting there. What I'm going to try is I'm going to try a different VCR and just see whether I can get another machine to lock in a little better. This one keeps muting the video to blue, like it's not reading the control track. I don't see any physical damage to the tape. It's just not recorded correctly, which is what happens when cameras and stuff break. And once again, why I question anybody for recording anything, especially something that's important, onto a VHS tape. Or an 8mm tape, or a mini DV tape for that matter. Why anybody would record anything onto any type of tape these days for a once-off event is just beyond me. But that's just me, because I'm kind of a perfectionist when it came to video, and I never trusted anything with tape. Anything with spinning heads and magnetic tape, it's always a recipe for disaster, because you usually don't find out it's not working until you've gone out and done the shoot. And the kicker to this is, they may have been able to record it on the camera and do a test recording and look at it in the viewfinder and, oh, it looks fine. Oh, it looks fine in the viewfinder. And then when they take the tape out and put it in another machine, it's not. because typically when the alignment goes out on the machine that made the recording, that machine will play the recording back pretty good because it's misaligned. So really what you needed to do is record a segment of tape, take the tape out, put it in another machine and make sure it plays, and then put the tape back in the camera and hope that it threaded correctly. Because all it takes is not to thread correctly. And usually what happened on cameras, because of the way the tape's loaded vertically, something would have fallen in the camera and been lodged down in one of the end blocks here, in the V stopper blocks. So then when the guide threaded, it didn't thread all the way. That's more than likely what happened on this one and why it's not recorded correctly. I'm going to try it on a Sony this time. See if I can get the Sony to play back any better. The JVC was close, but not good enough. Let's see if I can get the Sony operational. I'm back with all the lines in it again. And it is reading a control track, so there is a control track. The other one didn't have a counter, so I couldn't tell whether there's any control track being read or not, but it is. So I'll get into this one and we'll just start tweaking guides and see whether I can get this one to improve. I think probably what happened is there was some debris or something and the guides weren't loaded up properly. I think that's what happened on this. That something was jammed in the camera and it was preventing one of the guides from loading all the way up. It just kind of looks that way. It looks like there's signal missing. And it looks like there's signal missing right at the sync pulse, which is was making it really hard to try to track this up. I may be able to get a partial recovery. That's what I'm hoping, is that I can throw it into a TVC and get the TVC to lock and maybe be able to get a partial image out of here. That's the hope anyway. If I can get it to lock and then crop it, then I might be able to do something like get it to lock, try to capture it, and then crop it to crop out the section that's no good. But first things first, I have to try to get the alignment as good as I can. I will look at it with the scope, but right now I'll show you what I'm at on this one. It's actually playing back better than the JVC, I think. This is what I've got to now on the picture. As I say, it's getting there. I have no sound yet. I had sound, but it went away. More tweaking required. Sometimes you can spend hours just trying to get a single tape to play because it's so far off in terms of alignment. I should fire this through the TVC and just see what the time-based corrector will do to this. Let's do that. Let's throw the TVC. Well, first of all, let me grab a remote control and switch it to linear audio and see if I've got any. Oh, the tracking just shifted a bit. We'll see what the time-based corrector will do to this. See if I can get this thing to look even better. So I went from a recording that was nothing there. This is the full frame store TVC. I can adjust the black levels, chroma phase, chroma level, and of course the video level. But we're probably going to be able to get a fairly good recovery from this, considering how bad it was. I mean, it was in real rough shape. I think we can probably get I'm hoping a half decent recovery. There's some distortion at the bottom of the image. It's going to do this from time to time because the tape was shifting when they stopped it and started it. But I'm confident that I probably will be able to get a recovery from here that is, well, what they had before was nothing. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to get a fairly good recovery. There's still some work required. I'm still tweaking. I'm going to put the scope on it next and take a look at it. See what if I can get any better than this. But it's certainly a lot better than when I started, that's for sure. This is what we're up against. Is that the end of the tape? Oh, no, it's not. There's more. This is what we're up against. There is a section of video missing. You can see it. It's not tracking now worth crap. It's like it's shifted. This is going to be one of these ones where I'm going to be doing it in pieces and having to stop and go back and pick up again, which is generally what you have to do when you're doing these recoveries where something has shifted. See, they just cut to another shot and now it's better. It's not perfect, but it certainly is better than it was. But this is the type of thing where anytime you have any of these, I call it a forensic recovery, where something has malfunctioned on the camera and you're just trying to get, see, now the picture's looking good, but we've got a section here where there is no signal, and unfortunately it's occurring right where the sync is, right at the bottom of the picture. Looks like the last 20 lines or so just before head switching is missing, which generally would indicate that probably the exit side guide was not pushed into place properly. It's a mechanical problem. So the head spins counterclockwise. The top of the picture is recorded here. This is the bottom of the picture. Head switching occurs just before the horizontal, or the vertical sync. So head switching occurs 6 lines before the sync pulse. And the reason that they do that is so that the sync pulse is not interrupted. But what sometimes happens is you get a bit of debris that jams one of the V blocks. So when the tape loads, it's like that. Instead of all the way down, it's not quite loaded. And believe it or not, if I pull this back, it actually improves the picture. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. There was something jammed, little piece of cassette or something that broke off a cassette and fell down into the camera or the recorder when recording was being made, and it was jamming that block and keeping the tape back a bit. Come to think of it, it's the entrance side, because head switching occurs before the end of the frame, so the sync is on the left side of the drum. Try to get it as good as we can by adjusting it, and it's not bad. It's not bad at this point. I'll show you the scope. So the scope is, well, you can see the signal that's missing right here. But here's the picture. So there's the picture. You can see the bottom down here. That's where the tape came off the head. There's no signal whatsoever there. We're rebuilding it through the time-based corrector. If I bypass it, that's what we see. You see, there's no signal there. The frame store puts that back in. Otherwise you get that. Frame store does that. So at least it'll allow me to make a copy of this and at least get something where we had nothing before. That's the whole point. Will it be perfect? No, it won't. But it's a hell of a lot better than that. I mean, I've done the alignment there, but you can see there's information missing. Critical information in the sync. And of course there's another blank section of tape. It's always fun when they take the tape out of the camera and put it back in, or leave sections. Maybe that's the end of it. That might be the end of the recording. Okay, so there's not much on this tape. But anyway, things are looking much better. And again, I mentioned it, the fellow that sent me this, he had this to another shop that specializes in video recovery. They said it wasn't recoverable. And I say, well, let me take a shot at it, because I can usually get something. Now I'm using my time-based corrector. This is my AP41 frame store full frame TVC. One of the built-in ones in a VCR that's only 3 lines is not going to help you on this. When you have a signal that's deteriorated like this, you actually need a full frame store, because we need to reconstruct the sync, because there is no sync coming in. The sync is missing coming off the tape just due to the mechanical problem that happened during record. So after seeing this, I'm much more confident now that I'm going to be able to get signal off the tape, get it onto a USB stick, maybe put it on the computer and crop out that section so that it doesn't look like crap, and then send them the files. I mean, the fellow that sent me this, we're just gonna download it over the net, send it up to Dropbox or something, so he can get his recovery, because shipping stuff back and forth across the border now is ridiculous. It cost him $26 to ship me 2 tapes, from basically Washington, and to send it back would cost at least that much, because I now have to use UPS. I can't ship stuff back by the post office anymore. I have to use UPS thanks to Mr. Trump and his tariffs on products coming into the States. They're going to tax everything that comes in, and the only people that are set up for doing that is UPS, probably FedEx as well, but they're set up to collect it. I'm not going to collect the tax in advance. I made that decision when they announced it before, that I would not be a tax collector for the American government, so I'm not going to collect the tax and remit it in advance, but UPS said that they will do that. They will ship it back, and it goes to their fulfillment center, where they will figure out the tax rate and bill the customer accordingly. So it's back to business as usual for me as far as working on stuff for my American customers, because I have a lot of them and we appreciate it. I have nothing against the Americans. I just think that their government has got some really ridiculous policies right now, and it's hurting the American people. It's not hurting me, because I'm not paying the tax. It's hurting the customers that's going to be paying the tariffs, and that's, I think there's some people that don't fully understand how a tariff works. But a tariff is a tax collected by your local government. When somebody sends me something, for example, and they misdeclare it and send me a Walkman with a declared value of $1,000, and there's $160 in taxes owing, because, well, it's an import tax because they declared it incorrectly. That's a problem. Otherwise, stuff normally coming in for repair doesn't have any taxes or anything added unless somebody misdeclares it, which has happened more than once. It's happened multiple times where people have misdeclared something that's broken and ended up having to pay the taxes before it even gets to me. But there's never been any taxes going back, because the de minimis levels were, I think, $700 before. So there was no tax on anything that was valued at less than $700, and that included repairs and everything. Well, unfortunately, now there is. So for this fella, we'll just do a digital transfer, and he'll download it, and he won't have to pay any tax on it. Anyway, I'm going to finish working on this here, and then I'll do the recovery. And but I just wanted to show you guys kind of the process of what we started out with. I don't know why that JVC machine wasn't, well, it was giving me the blue screen of death. Basically, it was blue screening. Wasn't reading the control track properly, but it was muting the video, so I grabbed my Sony, and the Sony is all good. But I'm going to finish tweaking this and then get the recovery done, and I just wanted to bring you guys along for the ride just to show you how I'm able to get something from nothing. So here's the tape. It's not time-based corrected. Oh yeah, there's no time-based corrector there. And then I throw the TVC on and set it up. Much better. Unusable. You can see the flagging at the top there. That's where we're at. We got a much better compared to the original tape. Now again, this is after tweaking it to get the alignment as close as I could get it. But as you can see, there's no sync. The noise bar is right in the sync. The time-based corrector takes care of that by recreating it. That's about the only use I have for time-based correctors. But it's a real one. A rack mount studio TVC. Not a toy, not one that's built in. I would never use a TVC that's built in to a VCR, because they're crap. They only do 3 lines, and 3 lines will not do a thing when you have a really bad tape like this. A 3-line TVC won't do anything. Now, a piece of equipment that is absolutely mandatory if you're going to be using a time-based corrector, you need some way to monitor it. You need a scope, a waveform monitor preferably, because they're properly calibrated so that you can set your video levels accordingly. You need one of these bad boys over here. Anybody that tells you that you do not need a waveform monitor is lying to you. I got a bad cable here. That's what that is. My cable. I had to fix up a cable. But anybody that tells you that you do not need a waveform monitor is lying to you. The reason you need a waveform monitor when you're dealing with a proc amp or a time-based corrector with a ProCamp is you need to be able to look at your video levels. On the monitor, this might look okay, but if we look at here, we'll see that the blacks are actually being crushed, and that's the setup level. Right? This is our levels. This is our sync reference. We want our black levels at about 7.5 IRE, which is just about there. Right? The light bulb for the gradient scale has burned out, but I can see it here. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's our baseline, there's our sync, this is our video level, our setup level, our black level, and then the video level is this one. So with the video level we can adjust the levels. Like now we're way over white, now we're too low. We want to have those whites peaking in at 100. And I don't know if I shine a light on here whether you guys can see it better. Maybe we'll see if I can point a flashlight at it. Maybe not. Here it is here, where my finger is. This is 100, right there. And again, if I can light that up, I should replace the light bulb in this thing, just so I can see it. There's an incandescent bulb that lights this up, just so I can see it. But anyway, we want our peak level here at 100, which we are hitting 100 there with our peaks. So we want to set that up, and we can also use this for our gain, our chroma gain as well. Set it to flat, and this will show us our chroma. Here's our chroma down here. That shows us our chroma gain. And with respect to the burst. So this is chroma down. It's not black and white, but it's turned down. We bring the chroma up. We've got too much chroma there. This one I kind of eyeball. To do the chroma setup, you really need a vector scope. Normally we leave this in flat. Switches probably could use to be cleaned on this, or in IRE, which is just showing us our video mode. And then there's some of the other settings here. This is looking at our sync pulse. If I turn off the time-based corrector, that's our sync, or what it's trying to do. As you can see, it's not really much there. Turn the TBC on. There's our sync pulse. That's the burst. If I turn it into flat mode, you'll see the burst. IRE, it filters out the chroma, and it filters out the burst. If I put the scope in flat, you can see our burst here. And subcarrier phase actually changes the phase of the chroma. You won't see it on here. On vector scope you would. But this one you can usually dial this in by looking at the monitor. If your monitor is set up correctly, you can usually dial the chroma and the phase in that way. This is looking at individual lines, and this is the vertical sweep. So this is looking at full field. One field, two field, and then one field of the next frame. Very useful piece of equipment. Normally you're in the what they call the 2H. This is two horizontal lines that we're seeing here. This is so we can see our burst and watch our levels. This is pretty much required for using a time-based corrector. Without it, you're guessing. You also can't rely on scopes built into your NLE editor. The problem is you've already captured the signal at that point. So if your levels were too high, over quantizing your capture card. So you want the level set correctly before they get to your capture card. And that's why you need an analog scope that's calibrated. Anyway, now I've got this set up. I've got my scope for monitoring my levels. I can now get my capture equipment. I'm going to actually do it in the workshop here. I don't feel like taking all this stuff in the house. And I'm going to do it out here, bring some capture gear out here, and put it onto a hard drive, and then I can take it in and work on it and see if I can, well, crop it, get that section at the bottom of the picture that's distorted. We'll remove that a bit and just try to clean this thing up and make it look a little bit better. But as far as playback goes, this tape is actually playing not too bad. A little glitch here and there, not much I can do about that, but that's because the camera was changing while it was being recorded. The tape path was moving, And again, I think it's probably because something was lodged in the transport itself, was preventing one of the guides from going all the way down and locking into place on the V stopper at the end of its travel. And that's what's causing the problem. It looks like because all the interference is at the bottom of the picture, it was the exit side where the problem was. Anyway, I figured I'd show you guys this, my little setup for recovery. I don't use the TBC that often. There are times like this where it's an absolute must just because the sync is destroyed on the tape and it's going to give me the best quality that I can get. And again, if you're going to do transfers properly, you need to get yourself one of these Tektronix waveform monitors. Oscilloscope might give you a good idea as well, but they're not calibrated. This is calibrated for NTSC waveform. This actually came out of a TV station. The tape's at the end there. Now that's the blue screen. But this came out of a TV station. I think I bought it years and years and years ago. Like probably 30 odd years ago. And I didn't pay much for it. I think I paid $20 for this thing. It cost me more to have it shipped than it cost me for the scope. I bought this and vector scope, but the vector scope's got a blown IC, which I haven't bothered to source and replace. This noise you see here, this is actually a tracking error that's showing up there. That's noise. I'll have to re-tweak the guides as I do this because the tape is changing. Anyway, I'm not going to show you the capture process. I think you guys understand that it's how that part works. This is just the recovery on how to set up a machine to play back a tape that is in really rough shape. And now I've got it playing. So now it's just time to capture. So I say thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.